Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to SFF 180. It is Monday morning, May the 1st, 2023, and time once again, at long last, for the mailbag. I am so sorry for the lengthy delay between these. I have pushed the mailbag back at least twice now. And April's going to do it mid-April, and then Ghoulish Book Fest came up, and then the following weekend I was doing all kinds of stuff in Austin, which I talked about on the previous haul video that I did, kind of a little mailbag extra, all the stuff I had to do. But thank God that's all over. But what it has meant is that the mail has piled up a bit, so you're going to get a real hearty mailbag this week. So I am going to forego announcements, really, except to say that I am on a couple more social media platforms that you might not know about, and I'm going to start being a little more active on those platforms as opposed to like Twitter, which is no longer really a pleasant place to be. I'm on Mastodon, I'm on Instagram, and I will leave that information below in the description for you in case you want to follow me on either of those. So there you are. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into these books because there's a ton of them. So big old pile of white envelopes to start us out this week. I'm going to be getting into the Tor and Tor.com and other Tor-related releases. So because it's been so long between mailbags, you're going to see a lot of books today that are already in stores, but that's fine. Some of you still may not know about them, and of course we may always get, a new arc of some kind. But anyway, to start with, we have from Tor Books, SCOURGE. And this is, good Lord, 16, 18, however far we are into Stephen Brust's Vlad Taltos series, which has been going since the early 80s. And I started reading it, really liked it. I've read like the first half dozen of these, started out really strong, kind of fell off for me pretty sharply at one point. But I don't know, I'd kind of like to go back to these and get caught up and see how they improve. Or not, as the case may be. But SCOURGE is the most recent one. It came out on the 25th of April, very recently. And this one, apparently, Vlad Taltos gets married. Okay, well, good for him. This is a series that has a very similar vibe, shall we say, to something like Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. I mean, it's not the same kind of stuff. This is secondary world. The Dresden Files is set in Chicago, but there's that same kind of wit, that's, or I won't say the same kind, but it's, adjacent. I think if you like one series, you will like the other. But SCOURGE, now available in hardcover from Tor Books. And next up, and from Nightfire, this is the finished copy of a book that, as a matter of fact, happens to be my most recent review on this channel. So that will be linked in the end screen. But this is The Scourge Between Stars, came out April the 4th. It's a debut novella by Ness Brown, a space horror adventure, or rather, misadventure. As acting captain of the starship Calypso, Jacqueline Albright is responsible for keeping the last of humanity alive as they limp back to Earth from their forebears' failed colony on a distant planet. Faced with constant threats of starvation and destruction in the treacherous minefield of interstellar space, Jacqueline's crew has reached their breaking point. As unrest begins to spread throughout the ship's wards, a new threat emerges, picking off crew members in grim, bloody fashion. Yep, been here. Jacqueline and her team must hunt down the ship's unknown intruder if they have any hope of making it back to their solar system alive. So, go and check out my review of this one. It is The Scourge Between Stars, April the 4th. It came out from Tor Nightfire. Yep, the white envelopes just keep coming. And this is one that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. This actually came out some time ago. This is The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. This came out way back on February 28th. So anyway, but this is a retelling of an old, I believe, Japanese folktale, The Crane Wife. It says National Books Award finalist Kelly Barnhill has established herself as a powerful voice in fantasy. This is a feminist retelling of The Crane Wife, filled with love, family, legacy, and survival. Set in a small Midwestern town, the teenage protagonist takes up the burden of raising her younger brother, taking care of her mother, and keeping the family afloat. For 6 years, it's been just the three of them. Her mom has brought some guests home at times, but none have ever stayed. When her mom brings home a 6-foot-tall crane with a menacing air, the girl is powerless to stop him forcing his way into their lives and into her mom's heart. Utterly enchanted and numb to his sharp edges, her artist mom abandons the world around her to weave the masterpiece the crane demands. As she drifts further and further away, this fiercely pragmatic teen, forced to grow up faster than was fair, will do whatever it takes to protect her family and change the story. And so this is the Crane husband. If you want to, you can go on to, if you're not familiar with the original folktale, you can read up on the Crane wife on Wikipedia. But this is now available in a slim little hardcover from Tor.com Publishing. And next up we have another nice slim little hardcover novella from Tor.com. This is The Lies of the AJUNGO. The author is Moses Osei Utomi, and this came out on March the 21st. And it says, Tor.com Publishing is thrilled to bring readers the stunning debut novella from Moses Osei Utomi. The Lies of the AJUNGO follows one boy's epic quest to bring water back to his city and save his mother's life. Prepare to enter the forever desert. In the City of Lies, they cut out your tongue when you turn 13 to appease the terrifying AJUNGO Empire and make sure it continues sending water. Tutu will be 13 in 3 days, but his parched mother won't last that long. So Tutu goes to his Oba and makes a deal. She provides water for his mother, and in exchange he will travel out into the desert and bring back water for the city. Thus begins Tutu's quest for the salvation of his mother, his city, and himself. Okay. I am probably going to read this very, very soon because I'm sort of in the middle of a tome right now. And so between this and The Crane Husband, I want to kind of, do a few short books before, diving into the next big one, right? So look for a review of this one pretty soon. But it's out now from Tor.com Publishing, The Lies of the AJUNGO. Right, so that seems to be all of those. Now we're going to move on to this one. It is from HarperCollins. All right, and this is the finished copy in hardcover of a book called Going Zero. This came out from Harper on April the 11th. It's a new kind of, sort of sci-fi, slipstream thriller, as it were. It says if Michael Crichton were alive today, he may have written a book about one of the biggest threats to humanity, surveillance. Sounds more like a Cory Doctorow thing, but hey, there we are. 4-time Oscar nominee Anthony McCarten's breakneck-paced, wickedly entertaining novel is that techno-thriller for the times we live in. Okay. The premise: 10 Americans have been carefully selected to beta test a groundbreaking piece of spyware. Pioneered by tech wunderkind Cy Baxter in collaboration with the CIA, well, nothing can possibly go wrong there. Fusion can track anyone on Earth, but does it work? Each participant to this test is given 2 hours to go zero, to go off-grid and disappear, and then 30 days to elude the highly sophisticated capture teams sent to find them. Any zero that beats Fusion will receive $3 million. If Cy's system prevails, he wins a $90 billion government contract to revolutionize surveillance forever. I don't know. I think like the person who eludes this thing should get the $90 billion, personally. Anyway, one of the contestants may have been underestimated. Aha! Caitlin Day is an unassuming Boston librarian with some secrets up her sleeves. Never mess with librarians. I mean, the book banners are already finding that out, right? Her stakes are far higher than money and more personal than anyone imagines. Caitlin needs to win as badly as Cy needs to realize his own ambitions. They have no choice but to finish the game, and when the timer hits zero, there will be only one winner. Okay. Let's see, so what's the Oscar nominee? Okay, so he's a screenwriter, playwright, novelist, known for his work on The Theory of Everything, Darkest Hour, The Two Popes, and Bohemian Rhapsody. Huh, okay. And he's got a Broadway musical about to happen. Okay, then, well, this actually does sound like it could be a ton of fun, but it's Going Zero, and it is available now from Harper. Okay, this next one is a nice little surprise. This is in from Stelliform Press, but it actually came to me from the author. The author is Sarena Ulibarri. It's called Another Life, and she wrote me a little note here, personal note. Apparently she has been affiliated with World Weaver Press with some anthologies that she edited for them. And I've had World Weaver Press titles here on the mailbag before, and they've, I think, been pretty well received by you guys. And so she's sent a little note saying, thank you for all of that promotion, and here's my novella. Well, congratulations, Sarena. So I'll push this up the queue. And just that personal touch. Thank you. It says, finding out who you were in a previous life sounds like fun until you're forced to grapple with the darkness of the past. Galatia Aguirre is mediator of Otra Vida, a quasi-utopian city on the shores of a human-made lake in Death Valley. She resolves conflicts within their sustainable, money-free society and keeps the outside world from meddling in their affairs. When a scientific method of uncovering past lives emerges, Galatia learns she's the reincarnation of Thomas Ramsey, leader of the Planet B movement, who eschewed fixing climate change in favor of colonizing another planet. Learning her reincarnation result shakes the foundations of Galatia's identity and her position as mediator, threatening to undermine the good she's done in this lifetime. Fearing a backlash, she keeps the results secret while dealing with her political rival for mediator and outsiders who blame Otravita for bombings that Galatia is sure they had nothing to do with. But under the unforgiving sun of Death Valley, secrets have a way of coming to life. Okay, or to light, as it were. Right. Well, this is really interesting. Okay, another life. And let's see, what does it say? May 2023, so sometime this month. It's described as solar punk science fiction. Novella from Stelliform Press. All right, well, thank you very much, Sarena. All right, well, this next one is kind of curious. It says Start Midnight LLC. Okay, now I know. This is I've spoken to the publicist for this one. This is a new title from Pyre SF. It used to be so active and big in SF publishing community, so I'm glad to see that they're still around and that they're bringing books out, because it's been ages since I've heard from them. But this is the U.S. edition of the first book in a new trilogy by Ken MacLeod. That's nice to see. It's called Beyond the Hallowed Sky. It's the first installment in the Lightspeed trilogy. All right, so it says, mathematician Lakshmi Nayak receives a letter from her future self about faster-than-light travel. The equations work, and the letter itself seems to prove the possibility will someday be realized. But her paper on the topic is fiercely criticized, and she's warned away by a sinister Alliance agent. After defecting to the Union, she gets an unexpected offer: I can build your ship. Shipbuilder John Grant learns of a secret project which, unknown to the world, has been traveling to the stars for decades: Black Horizon. Biologist Emma Hazeldine works for Black Horizon on an alien world, Apis, whose life has clearly come from Earth, investigating rock formations that are thought to be an alien crystal-like intelligence. But refugees exiled to a hard life in the wilds of Apis already know more than the scientists have ever suspected. Everything changes when the rocks wake up, with dire results. As secrets emerge and rival powers seize advantage, 3 worlds are shaken to their foundations, and all involved have to fight for their lives and their futures. Okay, well, this sounds exactly like the kind of interplanetary science fiction I eat up, so I'm very happy to see this. This came out from Pyre on March the 21st. I know that book 2 is already out in the UK, so the second one should be around, not too long. But Beyond the Hallowed Sky by Ken MacLeod. And next up, this is a debut novella that I have really been looking forward to seeing. This is an independent horror novella called LINGHUN. The author is Ai Jiang. Ai Jiang has published some stories in FNSF and I think elsewhere. So not a completely unknown name, but this is a debut novella, and very thrilled to see this. It's from Dark Matter Press, but it's not got anything anywhere on the book or in a sell sheet in the way of a synopsis. But I know that it is a tale about grief, family grief, and a haunting. And from an Asian perspective, those are always, I think, much more interesting and innovative than they are from the traditional Western ghost story perspective. So, LINGHUN is a literary horror that has been getting quite a bit of good advance buzz, so I'll be reading it very soon. All right, and this says it is in from Clash Books. And another one that I have really been eager to see. This is very nice to have. This is a book called BELETH Station. The authors are Bryan Smith and Samantha Kolesnik. And apparently the idea, this is sort of like a two novellas in kind of a shared world situation. Basically, they're both stories set at the station of the title. It says, a tiny dot on the map beyond a 2-hour drive to any one city. It's a forgotten place to all except the unfortunate souls who were born there, folks who are barely hanging on and will likely never leave. BELETH Station was once a thriving town in the Pennsylvania mountains, but ever since the Medallion paper mill closed, things haven't been the same. Rumors spread of cancer clusters and benzene in the local water supply, but Medallion went bankrupt before an investigation could conclude. Now, the town's inhabitants, descendants of the old mill workers, make do in industries that are less than savory, and what remains of the mill is just a vacant haunt where bored teenagers like to wander at night, either hoping to scare the piss out of their buddies, or looking for a quiet corner to get laid. Of course, it's also home to a few vagrants, some looking to get blasted in peace, and others with more predatory intentions. All right, then. Well, this is giving very good vibes, urban exploration, abandoned towns, abandoned buildings, that kind of thing. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So this is out from Clash Books next week, May the 9th. All right, so next up we have this monstrous box from the Hatchet Group. Let's see what's in here. Okay, well, this is one that I know a lot of folks have been looking forward to for a long time. This is Night Angel Nemesis, finished copy in hardcover. This is the first volume of the Kylar Chronicles, and yes, it is a continuation by Brent Weeks of his Night Angel trilogy, which was his debut trilogy, several years ago. So he has come back to this universe for more. And let's see, does it have a... Orbit never usually puts in cell sheets. I mean, do you really need one? This is like, I guess, for those of you who love 800-page epic fantasy tomes, well, here we go. This should push all of your buttons. And Night Angel Nemesis from Brent Weeks, Orbit Books in hardcover. Okay, so now it looks like I have a couple of random Penguin titles that are in these giant vacuum-sealed envelopes that I always complain about. Yeah, I know. Gift horses and all that. I get it. And super, super excited to have this. This is Sisters of the Lost Nation by Nick Medina. It is in from Berkeley Publishing. And this is new Native American horror. So let's see what it has to say for itself. Does it have? No. Cell sheets. Okay, fine. It says, a young Native girl's hunt for answers about the women mysteriously disappearing from her tribe's reservation leads her to delve into the myths and stories of her people, all while being haunted herself in this atmospheric and stunningly poignant debut. Anna Horn is constantly looking over her shoulder for the bullies who torment her, for the entitled visitors at the reservation's casino, and for the nameless disembodied entity that stalks her every step, an ancient tribal myth come to life, one that's intent on devouring her whole. With strange and sinister happenings occurring around the casino, Anna starts to suspect that not all the horrors on the reservation are old. As girls begin to go missing and the tribe scrambles to find answers, Anna struggles with her place on the res, desperately searching for the key she's sure lies in the legends of her tribe's past. When her own little sister also disappears, Anna will do anything to bring Grace home. But the demons plaguing the reservation, both ancient and new, are strong, and sometimes it's the stories that never get told that are the most important. Part gripping thriller and part mythological horror, Sisters of the Lost Nation is an incisive and timely novel of life as an outcast, the cost of forgetting tradition, and the courage it takes to become who you are always meant to be. Okay, wow. And it is available now from Berkeley, Sisters of the Lost Nation. I think I want to read this one very quick. Okay, and I'm not sure if this next one is from Random Penguin, someone else. Doesn't matter. Let's see what it is. Ooh, okay, this is another one that I have been anticipating very, very strongly. This is The Strange by Nathan Ballingrud. And this is sort of like horror, but on Mars. 1931, New Galveston, Mars. Okay, so it is horror, science fiction, and alternate history. Okay, 14-year-old Annabelle Crisp sets off across the Martian desert to find the criminals who have stolen her last keepsake of her mother, broken her father's heart, and left her burning with a need for revenge. Shortly after Annabelle's mother leaves Mars to tend to her own dying mother, all communication from Earth stops. No more ships, no more messages, and no explanations. The colonists on Mars, frightened and bereft, come to refer to this as the silence. Now Annabelle's only real friend is the robot dishwasher she's named Watson, and her only escape from worry comes from the movies and dime novels she loves. Everything changes one night when a group of mysterious desert cultists, known as the Moths, raid their diner at closing time, beating Annabelle's father and robbing them of several items, one of which is their last recording of her mother's voice and her final messages for both of them. As the people of New Galveston debate how best to respond, Annabelle fumes at their inaction and ranges out into the Martian desert on a search for the Moths, both to recover the recording of her mother and to exact revenge on them. Joining her are her robot Watson, Joe Riley, a disgraced spaceship pilot, and Sally Milkwood, a notorious moonshiner who participated in the robbery at the diner. Before they can brave the Martian desert, they must pass through Digtown, a derelict mining community where a mineral called the Strange has warped the residents in frightening ways. Along the journey, Annabelle discovers Mars is a haunted world, infested with ghosts and alive with malignant intent. And it just keeps getting better. And New Galveston, once thought as a safe haven, is little more than a guttering candle in a dark world. At once evoking the dreams of a lost America and the harder realities of frontier life, Ballingrud's novel is stirring in its evocation of Annabelle's quest for revenge amidst a spent and angry world. Okay. I'm in. The Strange by Nathan Ballingrud from Saga Press. Oh well, how about that? I found more Tor envelopes. Okay, I'm very, very happy to see this because I love Cory Doctorow, and this is his new book, Red Team Blues, which came out on April the 25th, and it is the first in this new kind of techno-thriller series he's starting up. It says, one of the many traits that makes Cory Doctorow such a prolific author is his way of taking techno-jargon and complex tech concepts and making them accessible to readers everywhere, and Red Team Blues is no exception. In this techno-thriller, you'll follow 67-year-old Martin Hinch, a single self-employed forensic accountant who is a world-level expert on the kind of international money laundering and shell company chicanery used by Fortune 500 companies, mid-divorce billionaires, and mid-divorce billionaires. Who could that be? Anyway, and international drug gangs. All right, he isn't famous except to the people who matter, and he's had a good life. That is, until he's roped into a job that's more dangerous than anything he's ever agreed to before, and it'll take every ounce of his skill to get out alive. Red Team Blues is Cory Doctorow's best yet, bringing an understanding and thrill to the world of cryptocurrency when the world needs it most. Okay, so this is out now from Tor, and I believe that like the second Martin Hinch book will be out before the end of this year. So, it's really getting going on these. All right, so available now, Red Team Blues. Okay, so and I think this one does it for the Tor books this week. My mistake. This one is not from Tor. This is from Soho Press, who I think is also, distributed by Macmillan, I believe. But this is Eventide Water City. And it is the sequel to a book that I wish I'd already read by now, but now I have no excuse, right? A book called Midnight Water City came out last year, or year before last. So this is the sequel, Eventide Water City. It's an acclaimed fusion of sci-fi and hard-boiled mystery. And so it says the final two books, okay, so the next book is also coming out before the end of this year. It'll be in December. Sunset Water City will be the last one. Wow, okay, sweet. It says, in 2021, Chris McKinney won over crime fiction and sci-fi reviewers with his riveting cyber noir police procedural, Midnight Water City, about a synesthete detective investigating the murder of the venerated scientist who single-handedly prevented a global apocalypse by stopping an incoming asteroid. In Water City, a near-future world of underwater sea scrapers, so kind of like, the city in BioShock, right? Household hibernation chambers and dystopian-level wealth disparities ruling the world, McKinney created a darkly original vision of our global destiny, inspired by the climate crisis, Trumpian politics, and the ongoing 30-meter telescope controversy in his native Hawaii. Okay, looks like I'm going to have to get online and bone up on that one. Combining McKinney's cinematic prose with elements from the great works of Philip K. Dick, George Orwell, and Ben H. Winters. Midnight Water City earned its place, and then this one takes place 8 years later. So an action-packed sequel that expands the world in exciting ways, and I don't want to read any more spoilers, but yeah. So here we have Eventide Water City, and this will be out on July the 11th. And I am thrilled to have this. This is Venice Underground from Jeff VanderMeer. This is Jeff VanderMeer's debut novel that came out forever ago and, of course, since been lost to time. But now that VanderMeer is kind of a literary slipstream success as a writer, a lot of his older stuff is coming back out now from his current publishers. So this is Venice Underground. And yeah, so let's see what it has to say for itself, because I missed this the first time. It says, in a dark and decadent far future, the city of Venice persists beside a dead ocean, so VENISS. Earth has become a desert wasteland, ravaged by climate change. Venice endures on the strength of its innovative tech of almost Boschian intensity. But at what cost? Where does the line between made creature and person lie? Against this backdrop, Venice Underground spins the tale of Nicholas, an aspiring, struggling artist, his twin sister Nicola, and Shadrach, Nicola's former lover. A fateful trip by Nicholas to the maverick biotech Quinn will have far-reaching consequences for all three, and for the fate of Venice itself, as insurrection stirs and the oppressed begin to revolt. So it's his first book, a spectacular, surreal foray into a world as influenced by Alejandro Jodorowsky as by Ursula Le Guin. Readers of VanderMeer's later work will be enchanted and horrified by the marvels within, including the author's signature fascination with the non-human and the environment. All right, so yes, very happy to be getting caught up on this one soon. Venice Underground, now re-released by FSG Books. And this one says it is another one from Random Penguin. Okay, well, this is a new one from DAW Books. Okay, they're finally starting to get to some new books to me, and now that they have been taken over by a new parent company, but it's good to see, because I had fallen out of contact with them while that transition was being done. But anyway, this is a book called Dragonfall. The author is L.R. Lamb. And so let's see, this says, this will be out next week, May the 5th. It's a romantic queer epic fantasy trilogy, first volume, about a shape-shifting dragon who falls into the human world and finds himself bonded to a thief. But the closer the two become, the higher the chance both of their worlds will shatter. Long ago, humans betrayed dragons, stealing their magic and banishing them to a dying world. Centuries later, their descendants worship dragons as gods, but the gods remember, and they do not forgive. Thief Arcady scrapes a living on the streets of Vatra. Desperate, Arcady steals a powerful artifact from the bones of the Plague Bringer, the most hated person in Lumet history. Only Arcady knows the artifact's magic holds the key to a new life among the nobles at court and a chance for revenge. The spell connects to Everin, the last male dragon foretold to save his kind, dragging him through the veil. Disguised as a human, Everin soon learns that to regain his true power and form and fulfill his destiny, he only needs to convince one little thief to trust him enough to bond completely, body, mind, and soul, and then kill them. Yet the closer the two become, the greater the risk both of their worlds will shatter. Okay then, so Dragonfall, coming out in hardcover from DAW next week, May the 5th. Now, getting close to the end here, this is sort of a new kind of literary horror novel from Dutton, and this is one I've been looking forward to for some time, just because it seems intriguing and strange. It's called Natural Beauty. The author is Ling Huang. And it says, what does it have to say for itself? It says, sly, surprising, and razor-sharp. Natural Beauty follows a young musician into an elite, beauty-obsessed world where perfection comes at a staggering cost. Our narrator produces a sound from the piano no one else at the conservatory can. She employs a technique she learned from her parents, also talented musicians, who fled China in the wake of the Cultural Revolution. But when an accident leaves her parents debilitated, she abandons her future for a job at a high-end beauty and wellness shop in New York City. The store, Holistic, with a K, is known for its remarkable products and procedures, from remoras that suck out cheap Botox to eyelash extensions made of spider silk. Wow. And her new job affords her entry into a world of privilege and gives her a long-awaited sense of belonging. She becomes transfixed by Helen, the niece of Holistic's charismatic owner, and the two strike up a friendship that hazily veers into more. All the while, our narrator is plied with products that slim her thighs, smooth her skin, and lighten her hair. Uh-oh. But beneath these creams and tinctures lies something sinister. A piercing, darkly funny debut, Natural Beauty explores questions of consumerism, self-worth, race, and identity, and leaves readers with a shocking and unsettling truth. Okay. There's a book I read recently, Where It Rains in Color, is also something that deals thematically with this idea of like beauty standards and who sets them, and those in power set them, and what it means, see how power is communicated to, that sort of thing. So it's pretty interesting. So Natural Beauty by Ling Huang. I believe it's available now in hardcover. And closing in on the very bottom of the pile, we have something that I'm very, very excited about. This is the new collection from Kelly Link. A White Cat, Black Dog. Kelly Link is, there are very, very few writers who have managed to make a name for themselves writing strictly short fiction, right? I mean, I think Ted Chiang is another, but Kelly Link is like a Pulitzer Prize nominee for fiction, so, very, very high up there, but it's still, working within the realm of speculative fiction. Finding seeds of inspiration in the stories of the Brothers Grimm, 17th century French lore, and Scottish ballads, Kelly Link spins classic fairy tales into utterly original stories of seekers, characters on the hunt for love, connection, revenge, or their own sense of purpose. In The White Cat's Divorce, an aging billionaire sends his 3 sons on a series of absurd goose chases to decide which child will become his heir. In The Girl Who Did Not Know Fear, a professor with a delicate health condition becomes stranded for days in an airport hotel after a conference, desperate to get home to her wife and young daughter, and in acute danger of being late for an appointment that cannot be missed. In Skinder's Vale, a young man agrees to take over a remote house-sitting gig for a friend, but what should be a chance to focus on his long-avoided dissertation instead becomes a wildly unexpected journey, as the house seems to be a portal for otherworldly travelers, or perhaps a door into his own mysterious psyche. Twisting and turning in astonishing ways, expertly blending the realistic and the speculative, witty, empathetic, and never predictable, these stories remind us once again of why Kelly Link is incomparable in the realm of short fiction. Yes. And so this is available now, White Cat, Black Dog by Kelly Link from Random Penguin. And we have finally reached the end, and I am wrapping up with a pair of books that I am incredibly, incredibly excited to get. These are from Tachyon Publications, and it is 2 volumes of a new collection, The Essential Peter S. Beagle. Absolutely stunning hardcover editions. This is Volume 1. It says Lila the Werewolf and Other Stories. And then Volume 2, Oakland Dragon Blues and Other Stories. And let me just show you these books. I mean, it's like, you take off the dust jacket, and then, like, this is what you get for the naked hardcover, this incredible wraparound painting. And it's the same situation with Volume 2. You've got, I mean, like, damn. So, yeah, just, like, absolutely, absolutely breathtaking books. And I guess this is, going through, maybe not collecting all of his published short fiction. I doubt that very much so. But yeah, several good books. Oakland Dragon Blues, The Rock in the Park, Rabbi's Hobby, The Best Worst Monster. Yeah, so thrilled to pieces to see these, and in such gorgeous editions from Tachyon Publishing. The Essential Peter S. Beagle is now available. Whew! Okay, wow, there you have it. That's what you get when there's something like 6 weeks between mailbags. You get a massive, massive haul like this one. So you guys know the drill. Light up the comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, and which you would like to see me prioritize for a review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, as always, please slam that like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That is what helps the channel to grow. Very close to 11,000, so let's try pushing that over the line, shall we? You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon. where recruits into Wink's Army. Occasionally, you'll get little perks, like early access to some of my videos, but mainly the point of the Patreon is to help me pay Matt Olson, my extremely gifted and talented channel artist who does all of my beautiful thumbnails for me that enhance the channel so much. So I want to thank all of you who are doing that for your additional support. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. I want to thank all the rest of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube, and until I see you next time, please stay safe and healthy, and happy reading.